going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's Wrestling Off the Air. Or I guess Wrestling Off the Air presented by Wrestling Republic. I gotta work on that,
Something like that.
We'll find out. We'll find a honey zone eventually. But it is Tuesday, and I'm riding with the usual crew, as you guys can see. I've got Dryzzy and Shad. How are you guys doing?
I'm on Shad's side today. Yeah.
Oh, we switched sides. Look at that. How about that?
First off, I'm back in general.
Honestly,
in general.
Guess who's back?
I should have actually. No, you know what? By the way, let's give Dryzzy the spotlight here. Dryzzy,
Did y'all have fun? Did y'all have fun without me last week?
I'm not gonna lie, dude. We had a blast, but it did take me way too long to get the sting paint off.
I bet. And that was top tier sting paint. I loved it. It makes me want to do it now, but I got too much facial hair. No, we're not doing that. But I lived vicariously through you for that one.
I gotta admit, Dryzzy, I was excited about it going in. I was stoked when I set it up. It was a blast. Shad and I had a blast. Shad was awesome, as Dude Love as well.
Ooh, love.
That took so long. I was picking paint out of my fingernails 2 or 3 days after. It was fun while it lasted until you started getting white grease paint boogers. Oh no, I mean, I'm telling you, I had paint in everywhere, in my ears, in my eyes,
every crevice.
I mean, it was, and not only that, I looked like an early 2000s emo kid for like 2.5 days. Because the eyeliner, that is the night that I will fall. I'm telling you, literally, I was singing. That's exactly who I was for 2 straight days. I like went to the store and people were looking at me and I'm like, I swear to God, this was for a bit.
Please don't look at me.
I'm like, I promise this was for a bit.
You were a member of Judgment Day once you got a bit of the paint off.
Oh, it was absolutely wild. But we've also got in the comments, we've got a hello from Cool Gamer. As usual, good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. We've also got our good friend Bobby Batito. Appreciate you guys so much. We appreciate you too, Bobby. You're the man. Thank you for tuning in as always. And then we've got, speaking of good friends, we've got our head of reviewing, Kobe Galanzowski, is over here in the comments with does Lexus King on this feud with Mello?
Kobe, you skipping way too far ahead, man.
Yeah, Kobe, dude, you're overthinking this.
We're gonna come back to this. We're gonna come back to that one.
We'll readdress that.
We gotta talk about more important things.
We do love you, Kobe. Sting paint. I mean, seriously though, like honestly, what's interesting is the eye paint was the hardest to get off. Like that was
just like from right here.
Oh yeah, like it was just brutal. Like it was like the whole time I just was like, baby wipes, no fun. And the fact that Sting's been doing that basically every night for 40 years is just absurd to me. Because we use the exact same stuff he uses, and just monster shout out Sting. Thank you, man. Like keep up the great work, because we appreciate it. I can't believe, like, your skin routine, we're gonna have to hear about on another episode.
Like Sting skincare regimen.
Okay, but seriously though, where do you guys want to start here? We starting with Trick and Mello. I mean, logically speaking, right? We always lead with the main event.
Since Kobe brought it up, why not?
Yeah, I mean, we've got. Well, let's not give Kobe too much credit. We decided actually that it was.
Let's start. Let's start with that.
We're starting with Trick and Mello. And
friend or foe?
I think this is one of those ones where, for me personally, I think it's the most exciting storyline on NXT. And what's more exciting about what happened tonight was we've really talked a lot lately about, this is Triple H, Shawn Michaels, right?
It is.
And while I was initially annoyed with Brian Pillman Jr.'s appearance in the I have to say it, basically as the loose cannon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What made the segment to me is that it was a wrinkle that I didn't expect. I thought we were going to see the head through the windshield tonight, right? I thought we'd see the footage.
That's what I thought. I thought he was
It
gonna
was
like.
mellow.
I know you think who it is, but let's just take a look at this footage that I got here and take it to the Big Tron and him that be his brand of creating the chaos.
100% Drizzy. And that's where I was like, this is more interesting than I expected. Because I still think 100% it was mellow.
Yeah.
But the wrinkle I think was nice. Drizzy, I'm gonna toss it to you. Just where do you think they go from here? And when do we finally see the Trick Mellow match that we all want so badly?
If what it feels like is that Lexus King is the one who attacked Trick, but he's gonna force Trick and Mello to just go ahead and turn on each other just because he can. It's creating chaos. It's creating that loose cannon. Instead of him being the loose cannon, he's creating loose cannons all over the place. He's sitting there lighting fuses and running away. He's lit this bomb. He's gonna go run now. I'm not sure if they're gonna include the Iron Survivor in this, but he definitely is the one creating all the chaos. And it's probably gonna come out later on down the line when we finally get to the end. But by the time we get there, Mello and Trick are gonna be so irreparable that it's not even gonna matter.
I totally agree, and I love what you're saying there too, because it gives them, in my eyes, an easier trajectory to the main roster.
Yes,
because you leave room for the reformation down the road, if necessary, and I don't think it will be for a long enough time. It'll land even bigger. And that's, I think, the brilliance of this storyline on NXT. I think you quantified that absolutely perfectly. Shad, how do you feel that this goes down? And more importantly, how do you feel about, I guess, Pillman Jr. I can't stop calling him Pillman Jr. yet. I hate to do that to him because I know it's not his favorite, but it's just what I'm seeing with my eyes, and I'm just watching, but that's what I'm seeing. How did you feel about the interaction and the insertion into the storyline?
I mean, I guess I didn't really think of it that far ahead. I kind of just felt it gave Lexus King, Brian Pillman Jr. something to kind of do, something to kind of show off his sinister character that he portrays. Stirring the pot, but I don't even think he did anything. Like, I really don't think he's tied to this. I still think this is leading to that um turn between both of these guys and it showing that it was Carmelo Hayes. I think this is just a little roadblock because we got a lot of time to let this feud continue because I do think this is probably going to go uh on for a match between these two at the pay-per-view that they're going to have. I just don't see that Lexus King could necessarily be a part of it. I think initially he may just, you know, get himself a match with Trick Williams, maybe have a little mini feud within it, but I don't think that he's like the mastermind. That's just my opinion, but I do think that it is Carmelo Hayes. You saw it in his eyes once they embraced that hug at the end of the section after he got accidentally punched. I did like the segment. I think it was a little bit of a curveball adding Brian Pillman Jr. to it, but I really enjoyed that, like, ducking it and then him punching Carmelo Hayes and Carmelo Hayes looking kind of fed up. And you kind of saw that evil in his eyes of his emotions towards Trick Williams. And obviously, we got to talk about the amazing back and forth they had between each other, just arguing like two, brothers, and Carmelo Hayes just being very, like So you're saying you didn't see who did it, and Trick is like, why you keep bringing that up? Like, I'm trying to talk about something that's the bigger picture and whatnot. You feel the guilty conscience within Carmelo Hayes during all of this, and I'm interested, man. I said it last week. I said this is the best storyline in pro wrestling, and you know me, man. I'm a man of my word. I stand by that. I think this is the best storyline happening in pro wrestling, not just NXT. This goes on all of them channels: Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, Impact. Like it's the best thing going on if you're talking about true storyline that going from start to finish. Like this has a lot of emotion to it, so I'm loving it.
I totally agree. I think this is the best storyline going currently. It's awesome. It's a throwback. It's really fun.
It's a throwback. I also want to point out Trick's bit of a monologue he had. It was did it not sound very reminiscent to what Triple H was saying to Shawn Michaels back then? Like,
Very
I've
reminiscent.
been there for you for so much stuff. I've been there for championships. I've been there to hold your bags. I've been there to hold doors. I've been there to have your back when people are jumping you. When the locker room's against you, I'm the one there.
Yeah, it's like
But
they're
That's
where are
the
you
reversing
at
irony is the
when I'm
dialogue
roles
and
are
there?
character.
reversed.
And that's the exact same thing Triple H said to Shawn Michaels,
Yep,
and Shawn didn't listen.
it's true.
Now it's nice to see the flip of this and also the reference of history.
Well, and so what's so fascinating to me too is, and Shad brought up Lexus King, right? His name that he's going by in NXT. That initial promo we covered just a few weeks ago, right? Us three did. What, a month ago, right? His intro to NXT, and it was, I'm leaving that path, honoring it by using this new name, and it's the most identical he's ever looked to the loose cannon and Brian Pillman character I've ever seen him work in his career. When he was wearing the Bengals jersey in AEW, that's not what he was. He was never right tagging with Griff Garrison. Like, don't get me wrong, he was, it was mentioned
The only
that his
thing that
father's from it.
the only
He's
thing that can make
playing.
this the only thing that can make this more Brian Pillman is if Griff Garrison shaves his head and pops up in NXT as Stone Cold Steve Austin's son.
Yes, seriously. It's like, wait a
That'd
minute.
be that'd be something
Like,
for
it
sure.
was like a month ago, you were like, we're not doing this whole I'm Brian Pillman Jr. thing anymore. And then it was like, I'm gonna be exactly Brian Pillman. Like,
Yeah,
He's like,
it's
you're
gotta
right.
it's
You're
gotta
right.
it's gotta be the oxymoron to it when you think about it. I just
yeah.
don't like his. I don't like his beard, man.
Respect,
It's-
by the way. I hear you there. I think the
that
beard's
man got a
goofy.
that man got a lot of hair dye in his beard, yo.
Not to
That
pile
joint look
on. I couldn't grow a great beard, so but not to pile on, but I'm with you. The beard looks
that
goofy.
man look crazy, but it's all good. And I don't like his bandana either. But I'm not here to bash him. I
Huge
think
fan though. I think
welcome to NXT, young man. I think you're
great
going to
job.
do great things.
Great job. He's doing a great job. I mean, I was liking it when he was wearing the Bengals jersey. I was a fan of that. So shout out Brian Pillman. Let's talk about the Heritage Cup. Let's move along. Let's go to the next one. Let's talk about the Heritage Cup. We got Akira Tozawa. We saw him last night, of course. And then we've got, I think the three of us can agree on, we're all big Noam Dar fans.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Guy's hilarious. And he's outstanding. I like the Heritage Cup rules myself.
metaphor.
The metaphor. It's like the Four Horsemen, but without the
Yeah, that's what they
horses.
do. They do that.
Yeah, they do that one. Oh, yeah, because the M.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Drizzy, I'm tossing this one to you. How much fun is A, metaphor, and then B, Noam Dar, and then on top of that, honestly, Tozawa, did he arguably look better against Noam Dar tonight than he did last night against Nakamura?
NXT Tozawa is 10 times better than main roster Tozawa. I've got to just look at the way that this match is constructed, and I think, and we say it every time we see one of these heritage matches, it's a breath of fresh air, and it's just fun. It's a new take that we don't see all the time. Just seeing it, and I don't, and at that, I can't even say that we see it once a week because we see it more so maybe once or twice a month, really. Because how many Heritage Cup matches have we seen in the last 2 months? Maybe two. So whenever we see one, it just feels like more of a treat. Um, I enjoyed I enjoyed Noam Dar's dastardly tactics because he always finds new ways to bend the rules just enough to not break. Because a DQ technically is a fall in these things. The end of the first fall, I don't know how they were able to do it, but they were able to pull a super flex off in a matter of 1 sec in 2 seconds. There was 3 seconds left on the clock. He pulled it off. They were done, and that was the end of the round. And I will see his first fall. He got a sucker punch off that quick. Like those little things that Noam Dar just make this match his. Now I don't know if they're gonna be able to acclimate this to anybody else once he decides that he's not gonna be the Heritage Cup guy anymore. But this is a beautiful way to build this man up into going into the world championship because I really do see him moving up and that going ahead and letting Lash and Jakara, whenever she gets better, go after the women's tag titles. Obi could possibly go after the Heritage Cup or the North American title. It's just a great way to have a heel faction just own something. And bringing in Tozawa for all the have a neutralizing of the metaphor was also brilliant as well because Tozawa, a great veteran to have in the ring, a great wrestler to have in the ring. He actually gets to let his hair down, do whatever and everything in the ring. It's just a good it's just good chemistry. It just makes sense. It just fits. It's a puzzle piece that it just slides right in and everything is good with the world.
I'm 100% with you, and I think you brought up a great uh, topic there about what do we do when Nomdar, isn't running the Heritage Cup title, right? In the long run. It's really funny. I'm going to shout out our good friend Kobe Gonzowski. He made me watch a lot of NXT UK, and I deeply made fun of him when it went under and they stopped making shows. But the best Heritage Cup wrestler I ever saw was A Kid Axiom. Now,
Mhm.
I kid you not, no pun intended. I watched this dude the first time and I'm like, Kobe, A Kid's the dumbest name I've ever heard, but this guy is unbelievable. He's a real life Brazilian Jiu Jitsu black belt. That is the match I want to see. Is the real one on NXT, not on NXT UK in front of no crowd, in front of a real crowd on NXT. Axiom, aka FKA, A Kid
Mhm.
against Noam Dar because that dude in the Heritage Cup format was absolutely off the charts every time I saw him. And I got to give Kobe credit because he showed me all those old matches back in the day. Right when I first got hired, we'd watch them like literally like while playing video games. It's hilarious. But um, the matches were off the charts. And that is the one that I want to see because it just embodies the entire Heritage Cup format perfectly. A Kid is way A Kid Axiom is way more talented than people realize. That dude can do just a lot of things bell to bell that you don't see often. But I will ask you, Shad, what do you think Heritage Cup wise? Tozawa, we talked about earlier today, Tozawa and Nakamura
Mm.
already on the daily, but what do you think about tonight's match and the future of the Heritage Cup?
I enjoyed this match. I like the strategy in the later round where they mentioned that it's best for him to just tap out at this moment so he has time's sake rather than just keep the hold on to it and it went down to the nitty gritty. I like that they are able to utilize both factions within it, and yeah, I mean I agree to a standpoint. I feel Akira Tozawa is, like I said earlier on the daily, I think he's a criminally underrated sports entertainer and professional wrestler. The guy moves at a quick pace. He has the ability of, working as good as he does in ring, but also have a great amount of charisma and comedic timing. And that's the same thing for Noam Dar. I think he's the same type of professional wrestler. He's a very funny guy. He's got a silly gimmick. He has a lot of, entertaining segments throughout NXT, but the dude can go. The dude's a top-notch professional wrestler, and I think that kind of showed, the greatest hits of what these two wrestlers do in the match. And they're gonna continue to feud between the Alpha Academy. We mentioned it earlier. I think the Alpha Academy, not doing a whole lot. They're kind of in like a little bit of a chill pattern on the main roster where you can also use them on NXT, and you build a lot of good matches within that. You can get Noam Dar and Chad Gable and Ora Mensa. Like I'm cool with the utilization of all of that. Hell, we could even get Maxine Dupree versus Lash or Jakara. Anything's a go with that. So all in all, good, man. I enjoyed the match and I thought it was a great Heritage Cup. And yeah, I'm appreciating the high usage of Akira Tozawa on Raw and NXT. The dude, it went from just being in these little 24/7 segments, getting having the wedding of Dana Brooke and Reggie and trying to marry Tamina and like all of the silly stuff that he did with that. People forgot how good he is, and we're kind of seeing how good he is again.
I totally agree, and I think it's kind of fascinating. It's funny. Like the video game, I didn't really play a ton this year, but over time I've played it a little bit. And you play the My Rise, Tozawa's in it a lot,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, he
You
is.
put in that leg work, stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it's starting to show. Just being, a worker like that, and I agree with you. His comedic timing is awesome. He's always entertaining, and I love that he's adapted no matter what the scenario is
Mm-hmm.
to he does what he's got to do, whether it's playing a ninja, right, or actually wearing wrestling gear and going bell to bell with Nakamura, and back to back nights in big spots.
He's on a 3 match like against some beasts. He got Bronson Reed, Shinsuke, Noam Dar. Like, bro, put it in work as well as he was doing the Heritage Cup like tournament prior to it, man. Like he's definitely, even though he might not be winning matches, he's putting in a lot of work for the WWE lately.
I do have a
100%.
question. I do have a question for you guys.
Yes.
With Noam Dar, he is one of the top champions on the brand. Do we see him getting an Iron Survivor qualified match?
Ooh, that is
I
actually
would
an
utilize
interesting question.
I would utilize him in it just because you need to have different. I feel like you got to put a lot of your top guys in it, and I think he's one of the top guys on the men's side of NXT off of booking and like just being over at
Mhm.
that.
As
And I
much
think
as
he'd
like
add a very good element to it as well.
as much as I agree with you, like you're 100% right that he is one of the top guys. I feel like he occupies a space on the card that's so valuable in and of itself, storytelling wise,
Mhm.
that I would actually keep him away from that for the time being. Not that he doesn't deserve it, not that he's not talented enough to be in it, right? Like I wouldn't be upset if like Shot, I completely hear where you're coming from. That you know what I mean? But just personally, I actually think he occupies almost in a weird way, like not
He has his
not
own little island.
exactly how not exactly
He has
how
his own.
Gunther,
He has
yeah,
his own little island where,
yeah, like in the upper mid card where like
kind of like, as just as a reference, in AEW, Cody had his own
yes,
island where people came to fight him, and they're
yes,
kind of stuck in that void. It kind of feels the same way with Noam Dar. They come to the Metaphor Island, and they're kind of in that void until the void shoots them back out. But
yes,
I only ask because, as we said, he is one of the bigger stars in NXT at the moment. When you get to the Iron Survivor, you kind of are gonna need to book it in a way that you have your different types of wrestlers. We seen, as we will talk about in a little bit, we have one with our big man. Noam Dar fits a very specific piece that we had last year in actually winning with Grayson Waller. Noam Dar fits that mold pretty well.
Yes. It's a really good point, and it's one of those things where I'm like, the only thing that I feel like the difference wise, and I hate to be this guy because I don't mind smaller wrestlers on the main roster succeeding, but Noam Dar is not Grayson Waller's size.
But he doesn't mean he
And
needs to win it. It's just to fill bodies for the match.
to fill bodies for the
Right.
matches for sure.
Like one
But
of my favorite matches is they only did it one time with the championship scramble match. The bulk of that match,
yes.
Brian Kendrick was the world champion and nobody could catch him.
Yep.
And that was his claim to fame. And it also led him to getting a little bit more of a push. He had a bodyguard and everything. So
I
it,
mean,
just being in the match means okay, you're top 5 here, and over the next year, you're probably gonna be one of the guys that we elevate, and these takeovers are gonna start being marquee names with your name in it.
it's possible. It's possible. It's possible, I think, for sure. I'm with you, but I think that the Heritage Cup is where he's carved out like his niche
Mhm.
in a way. And I just like wouldn't get away from that. I like the longer I feel
I
like he
don't, but
acts.
I don't feel like you need to pigeonhole him. I feel like that's a
No,
claim
no,
to
no,
fame to
no.
get him that match, though.
I'm not
Like,
even
not
trying to
every match
over
he has to
pigeonhole him.
do has to be a
See,
Heritage Cup match.
I like when he treats the Heritage Cup as if it is the greatest prize in the industry. That's I think, you know what I mean, Shad? Like, and Drizzy for that matter. Like, I feel like I want to see him treat that Heritage Cup as if it is the ultimate, right? Like, there's the, boxing, there's the WBC, the WBA, WBO, the IBF belts, the IBC belt, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
He's like, no, 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 this is the one. The Heritage Cup champion. I'm the best wrestler. That is, and lean into that because it just fits him so well. And I think we have the opportunity with the Iron Survivor to highlight so many other guys.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And without it hurting Nomdar, because that trophy means the world to him, right? That's his baby. And that's where I just wanted to, yeah, my precious. I just wanted to lean into that. Like, that's just me though. Either way, like neither here nor there. Let's talk about Braun and Vaughn. I mean, come on. You want to talk about it, Shot, or no? What does that
Yeah,
mean?
I can talk about it. My bad. I thought we skipped the topic with the Iron Survivor matches. My bad. We getting that last? Because there's 2 of them.
Dude, if it was Tiffy time, I'd let you know. Whoa.
Nah, my fault.
We're not
bro.
skipping Tiffy time. We're not skimping on Tiffy time.
He's
Like,
seeing
we'll get to Tiffy time. But right now it's Braun Vaughn time. Let's talk Braun and Vaughn.
Table.
All right, let's go.
I just shifted the order. That's my bad.
He's table.
Nah, you good. It just threw me off. My bad, bro.
I'm sorry.
Apologize. My fault.
Table.
I jacked up on
Apology
the live.
accepted
My
because it
fault.
was unnecessary. Let's talk about it, guys. We got Braun and we got Vaughn. We got head injuries on head injuries. We got Braun's beating up Vaughn's friends. I mean, it's one of those things. It's hard to avoid Braun.
Taking S off friends. He beat his friend. Because who's friends with Von Wagner other than Tables?
And the guy, Robert Stone. Or Robbie E.
You better watch out for Braun Breaker then. He's behind
That's
you.
my guy. That's my guy, man.
Braun Breaker's behind you then.
I want to be Vaughn's friend now, but only if he's healthy. I'm kidding. But honestly, it was an awesome segment. Dude, I love the storyline as much as anything. Drizzy, I'm gonna toss it to you. How do you feel about Braun versus Vaughn? And Where are we going with Von Wagner from here?
So I hate to say this, but this was probably the blow off. And I absolutely hate that Von Wagner is good enough to put people through tables, but he's not good enough to get the actual wins. This should have been a win for Von Wagner. I've never understood I've never understood why they put him in these feuds where he can only get the statement wins. He can't get the actual wins. He'll always be able to put something to a table, do something big, monstrous, stand tall at the end, and that's like his moral victory every time. But he's never able to be given that big win. Beating Braun Breaker, the longest reign he's not the longest reign. One of the longest reigning NXT champions. It should be a big deal for him, but he's
Yes.
not getting that. No, he's getting. Well, I put him through a table. I don't want the consolation prize for Vine. Y'all done this great story to build him up. You actually got people cheering for him. You made him more interesting than he ever been in the 2 years that he's been around. Give that man a win. I understand in wrestling the wins and losses shouldn't matter. It should be the story. But this is the one time I feel like the story should have ended with a win for Von Wagner.
I could not agree more. And not only that, like the dude's head got smashed in the steps. Like what? And it was like, oh, I put him through a table. Like, you're kidding. What are we doing here? You know what I mean? One of those
This
things.
joint, this was
Yeah.
trash. This was trash, trash, garbage. This was a horrible ending. I did not
Yes.
like it at all. The match was cool, whatever it may be. We literally had this soothing moment of him losing and throwing him through the table already. Like that already happened. Like we're just making that the final finish all over again. Like nah, man. Like I agree. I agree with Driz. Like you have a look. Braun Breaker is gonna go to the main roster anytime. Like within the next few months or whatever it may be, few weeks, few days. Who knows? They're poaching people. They took the Creed brothers out. Like get him on the main roster. Let him put somebody over. Let's get this. Like this dude got murdered on television,
Yeah.
right? And he's losing the feud. That makes him look even weaker than what it is. Like it no, like Braun Breaker don't need to be protected in this situation. You got to let Von Wagner get his moment, whether you and it because whether you believe in him or not, I don't know. That's on them. But you've positioned this story where like the only outcome needs to be the good guy got to win. He lost. Okay, he put you through the table. You already did that. Like that. You're trying to make fetch cool with doing this whole table segment with him, man. It's not. It was basura trash. I love NXT. I love most everything about it, but this was garbage.
Nah, you're trying to make fetch cool. Got me really good. And in the words of the great Adam Pac-Man Jones, when asked about Terrell Pryor, garbage. This is garbage. This is garbage. It was garbage. I'm with you on that 1,000%. And they were trying to make fetch cool.
And bro, hey, the thing is this though. Vaughn was working. Like if we talk about the match, Vaughn was working. Like he was looking agile. His big boot was looking strong. All of that. But it's
And
just like
firmly had the crowd behind him.
In the middle of the
yeah,
show.
everyone was
built
rooting for him.
they gave this man a main event segment where his head was smashed in. At that point, you've created the babyface you need. Give that man the win.
You almost murdered this man on television. He gonna lose a match. I don't want to see Von Wagner no more now. I'm
You did
sorry.
to me on a
How you gonna
podcast.
how you gonna make me want to watch him when he come on, he went out like a sucker, bro. I'm sorry.
This
Trying to make
feud
fetch
has
cool.
no, it wasn't them, but you can't sit there and have a feud where they're basically destroying each other. And when I say destroy, like literally destroying each other, just for it to end with him putting him through a table, softly at that. You might as well lay him down with a pillow and a blanket.
100%. Oh man, I'm sorry.
Next segment, man. Next
I'm
segment.
broken. We're moving on.
Let's go to what matters on this show.
Yeah, see,
Oh,
if you took
Lord.
anything away from that segment, I hope it was that he was trying to make fetch cool. It's unreal that you just dropped that on a podcast. You're a nutcase, Shad. Either way, what time is? It's weird. I actually just needed to check the time.
Well, I don't have a.
Is
I
it?
gotta. I wish I had to watch the shadur. I gotta do
Well,
the shadur.
it's Tiffy time.
OMG.
It's Tiffy time. OMG. Shad. Speaking of Iron Survivor and speaking of qualifying, let's speak
I'm a
on
survivor. I'm not gonna
Tiffany.
get it.
Survivor.
That
Keep
needs to be
on
the theme song right there.
surviving. We're
Right, that should
talking
be a theme song for these matches.
I
Come
don't think
on, man.
Tiffy.
Beyonce gonna let that happen, but
Yeah, we need to.
Nah,
If that's royalty free, we'll see if Ben can edit it in.
it's definitely not.
Let's. It's definitely not. No monster shout out though. Great song. We've got Tiffany Stratton and Fallon Henley, and of course, given that we're going to talk about Tiffany Stratton, I asked you earlier, Shad, what freaking time is it?
It's Tiffany time. Look, man, as the resident leader of the Tiffany Stratton fan club, I bring you guys what we have been missing. We have been missing the presence of the center of the universe. Tiffany Stratton versus Fallon Henley. Look, first and foremost, this has been an underrated little mini feud that's been built up. It started on the first week of Halloween Havoc, where Fallon Henley killed it with the cosplay. Absolutely killed it. I think Drizzy even said that why is she playing Tiffany Stratton better than Tiffany Stratton is? So kudos to her. Um, and Tiffany Stratton was not happy about it last week. She attacked her leg. We talked about that too. And it followed up with this match. There was a lot of there's this different side of Tiffany Stratton that's kind of like not so much of the gimmicky with the toodles and all that, and she's showing that she a killer. She's got that tough side to her. She's showing that she is not to be played with, and she was laying her stuff in versus Fallon Henley. She was working the knee on the outside. She had that beautiful spot where she just literally threw her through the middle of the ropes onto the ground. Showing the athleticism, showing the strength. Prettiest moonsault in the business. She got the win. I do want to see Fallon Henley. We talked about it earlier. Drizzy mentioned it as well. Like I want to see Fallon Henley in this top of the card too. Like I think she does a lot of great things as a superstar as well as a character. And I mean I enjoyed the match a lot, man. I'm hyped to see her in this on Survivor match because she needs to reclaim that Tiffy title and go back to the Tiffy top. It's lit.
As Rare Charles would say, I mean, Tiffy's
Hey.
not letting anybody do the mess around. I'm just saying. I mean, nobody's messing around with Tiffy anymore. It's Tiffy time. I'm with you. I think it's time for another push at the title. And not only that, she's so dang good. You can just see her work every week and have fun.
WWE has a lot of future superstars in this women's division. We got Jade Cargill coming in, but don't sleep on Tiffy time. I think she's going to be on that top notch of the main roster, and you're going to see one of those lovely main roster women titles on her way sooner than later.
If we had time, we would discuss this further for sure. But let's talk about our last subject, which is Lyra Valkyria and Xylee. The exchange that they had. Drizzy, I'm tossing it straight to you. This is an interesting one. Talk about a women's division. We talk about women's divisions being booked poorly, and then the three of us show up basically every Tuesday night. You know what I mean? At least two of the three of us are here every time,
Mhm.
and it depends on which two, right? You never know. But at least two, right? On average, we're here every Tuesday night. And it feels like every Tuesday night we talk about how great the women's division is on NXT.
Yeah.
And it so is. What are they getting right that nobody else is? Try to quantify that one for me, Drizzy. And that's too broad of a question. First, break down Valkyria and Xylee's deal, but why is this division so much better than every other night?
First off, when we speak of championship reigns, we have to look at where what Lyra is living up to now. Becky did a great job putting that title on a pedestal. Not saying that Tiffany didn't do it or anything, but it felt like the world was like, well, who's this chick? Becky comes in, gets that belt, and puts it up there. Lyra now looking to build it upon what Becky did. It's a great first step taking on a veteran who's trying to who's trying to get themselves back on the on trail because Xia Li was one of those who I want to say she was in danger of being caught up in the NXT 2.0 stuff. And instead of repackaging her down there, they just went ahead and sent her to the main roster. It's like, you know what? Let's just see what she can do. And she got lost in that shuffle. She's still kind of lost in a shuffle, but she's being given more now. Um, I adore that they're giving her a match that she rightfully should have got when she was in NXT to begin with. But I do believe that it'll be a great fight between them. The NXT women's division. About every week we do this. We talk great about the Heritage Cup, we talk great about the storylines, and we talk great about how the women are booked. I don't know if there's a woman back there. If it kind of feels like there may be. It just feels so fluid. Everything feels organic. Everybody has something to do. Everything that happens, it's a living organism. All, and you saw that tonight earlier in another match with Lola Vice and Electra Lopez and Roxanne and Kalani. And that mixed a couple of storylines together. The women's division in NXT just flows. And in fact, tonight, if I know we talk about it every week, this would have been one of the nights where I would have been on the same side as Shad and saying that NXT's women's division was better than TNA's. They're neck and neck at this point in time. If we're keeping stats, I really don't know who it is back there, but they're doing a great job making women's storylines that don't just revolve around, oh, you took my man, or oh, we're both fighting for this title. You have people fighting for respect. You have people fighting because you know what? I'm sick of you gloating about stuff. We've had bars on the line. We've had property for sale. We've had marriage proposals. We've had all types of different storylines. It makes the women stand out, and then the women have great matches on top of it. Any wrestler's great if they have something good to chew on, and that's what's going on with the women right now. They have great stories to chew on, which amplifies everything they're doing.
I could not agree more. And I'll go as far as saying, hey, I've watched some TNA myself. The Knockouts division, outstanding.
Yes.
Can't even sniff Tuesday nights.
Nope.
It's not even
Yeah, hold
in the
on
same
now.
territory.
Hold on. You got a little
And I know that's a
y'all got
whole
a
other show,
y'all
but
got a little
I'm
too much
telling you,
y'all got a little too much dip on your chip now. I said tonight. I said tonight, yes, but not all the
Tonight,
time.
tomorrow
I'm
night,
just saying
the
between
night after that,
Zoe Stark, you
the
keep
night
naming
after
Tiffany
that.
Stratton, you keep going up. Kalani Jordan.
I'm
Kalani Jordan
You know
is a
what?
star.
You know what a
And
match I
we
need?
barely talked about her tonight. Kalani Jordan's a star.
We need Jordan Grace versus Ivy Nile, man. Somebody book that match.
Ooh, now we're talking
uh, you know
with
what we
that.
need to you know what needs to happen. I'm gonna
Oh Lord.
propose it to Ben. We need to have a Impact TNA NXT versus thing where we put the top 10 women's matches up against each other and let everybody decide what's better.
The Super Forbidden Door. Book it, Tony. I'm just saying. Everybody book it. You too, Sean. HBK, I'm talking to you. Book it. The Super Forbidden Door. With that, though, that does bring us to the end of the show. Bobby Petito, I know you're in the comments, and all love, my friend, but we don't have time to show him. Thank you so much. You're the man. Seriously, though, everybody for tuning in, can't thank you enough. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do. Every Tuesday. Just be at the same place, the same time. Every Tuesday, find your computer or your phone and then tap into us. Also, check out Take It to the Table. Check out the daily broadcast every day at noon Pacific. That's 3 Eastern, 8 p.m. over in the UK now that the time change is on the same page. And that's, of course, 9 a.m. Hawaiian as always. Aloha, my friends. Thank you, everybody. And have a happy Tuesday night. Taco Tuesday over here in SoCal.